The notion of value in a video game is pretty subjective. And Brian Weed, I think, well, I know that you have very specific opinions on value.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's a very subjective term. What is valuable to one person may not be valuable to another, particularly when it comes to video games, and more specifically when it comes to sports video games. And I can't really think of a franchise that is more aligned with being able to quantify value, perhaps, than the soon-to-be released Rory McIlroy PGA Tour golf. Now, I will say this, okay? Me personally, I'm speaking only for Rich Grisham, definitely not trying to speak for anybody else. I will be buying Rory McIlroy PGA Tour day one. I'm excited for a high-definition golf. We just watched a great U.S. Open. I'm excited to play on that course and in the next gen glory. Hopefully, I'm excited to play with Jordan Spieth, who has now won the Masters and the U.S. Open. I'm excited to play with Rory McIlroy. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm personally excited for. To me, it's a no-brainer decision day one, but that's because I'm excited about it. Brian Weedeye, do you believe that what PGA Rory McIlroy PGA Tour golf is delivering is a good value?
First of all, they're delivering us a very difficult to say name of a game, and
That is
difficult thing to type.
Yes.
When we write about it all the time. The value of a game is sometimes difficult to quantify, but I think it also differs on a returning series, a yearly license title kind of thing, which still, even though they've kind of rebooted the golf series, it's still in people's minds, it's still perceived as a regular release versus like a brand new game that hits the market. And so what you have is similar to NHL 15 last year, where it's not just that stuff is missing, but to people, its stuff was taken out. So they're getting less than what they paid for the previous year. Now, I think in the case of McIlroy, it's an interesting case study because going in, I thought that in golf games, generally it's about creating your own character and taking them down a path of their career. And maybe you play with real golfers online, maybe you don't. But the real golfers weren't always utilized. But what I realize now is it's not necessarily about playing with those guys, but it's seeing them around you. So when you have a career mode that includes all the different tournaments, but you have fake names on the leaderboard because there's only 7 other real golfers or 8 other real golfers, or in the case of McIlroy, 12 real golfers. You lose that sense of realism and being in the moment there with those other guys. And that's the same with the courses too, is that you have only 8 courses plus a pre-order course. And so you're playing through a tournament. You're going to get tired of that real quick, especially because EA has added a feature this year where you quick play through rounds and you play just a couple of holes each round. I mean, if you're going to use that feature, you're going to be stuck playing the same things over and over, and that can get real tired. So I'm going to be interested to see, because the initial reaction to the McIlroy stuff is that this isn't enough. There's a competing golf game already on the market where I can have hundreds of thousands of courses that people have created. But here, there's no course creator, there's no course sharing, so you're stuck with what EA gives you. And that makes it more difficult. And that's why they're feeding in things like fantasy courses and fantasy golfers, these like a battlefield character and the nightclub challenge. I mean, stuff that might be fun, but to the purists of the sport doesn't really fit in a golf game.
Well, that's the beauty of this situation, is that there is competition, right? So the golf club, as we have talked about, ever since it's come out, is a fantastic game in its own right, and it does things very differently than PGA Tour is doing. It doesn't have licensed golfers. It doesn't have licensed courses. It's very heavy on sharing and in the community, and I think it's spectacular. And it's an interesting bar that Rory McIlroy has to reach, because yes, it obviously does have the benefit of the real world courses. Obviously, not as many as some would like. But again, I mean, when you're, I know how I sound, but I can't help it. Like, to build these worlds is a significant investment of time, effort, and people. And, you know, it's a significant move from the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era to the next era. They haven't made a game in a few years, and probably, and I don't know this, but I'm assuming that significant amounts of people were moved off of golf onto other games and then came in later. So, but again, to me, like, I'm fine getting this game, but I know what it is, right? Good thing is I know what I'm getting into. I also know that I'm only going to buy, well, I think I bought 3 games this year. Like, I don't buy a lot of video games. So I think I know I bought Project Cars and, you know, a couple other games. I don't even know what they are this year. And so that's another reason, like, for me, $60 day one. Okay, I'm going to go in, but I know what I'm getting myself into, and I'm going to buy obviously all the fall games, but I'm not out there every Tuesday snatching up releases, and I'm not going to be doing that for a while either. So really, I think what it comes down to is just knowing what you're getting into. It'll be very interesting to see how the game fares. Will it be a big hit? Will it not? I mean, that's going to be very interesting. Brian, what's sort of your feel going into this? What are you hearing, and what's your sense?
Yeah, this is a tough one to read because EA is obviously, they're targeting a more casual crowd. I think what happened was they lost Tiger Woods. They lost kind of that brand identity, and they said, all right, so let's go after a different group of people. What's the larger consumer base we can go after? And that's more casual crowd. Now, that doesn't mean they have to abandon everything simulation about it. What they're trying to do is give you options within the game, so the 3 different gameplay styles and stuff. But then they're like, we don't have Tiger Woods to market this game anymore, so let's do some weird stuff like the battlefield course and playing at night with a bunch of neon lights and different challenges and stuff. And I'm not sure that's going to work, because I think still you have to. There are very arcade-like golf games that are successful, but this is kind of straddling the 2 sides, and I'm not sure if you're going to draw people into what's kind of considered a sim franchise with arcade stuff. I mean, they've tried this in other sports games, and it never seems to work, where you try to bring in different types of people by appealing to them, but you have a certain game already, a certain series that's entrenched for people, and it's hard to break out of that just by adding different features. So I'm not sure. I think the name is going to hurt them, obviously, not having Tiger Woods around. The roster hurts, the people expecting to have to spend a bunch of money on downloadable content. And then there's the golf club, which just like a month ago you could get for $10 on PlayStation. And then their DLC was $10 and you could have had everything for $20. So the $60 is tough. Now, what I'm seeing and hearing from a lot of people is, oh, wait till a price drop comes, because a lot of people are anticipating $30 worth of DLC or something, courses that they're going to have to pay for eventually. So they're like, I'll wait till it's $30 or $40 and then I'll get in on it. I think it's kind of what we're looking at right now. Is not nobody, but a lot of the people who are on the fence are able to wait or willing to wait and see how the product turns out. Let's see what the reviews and what people say, and then wait until all the content's there that they want. But again, this is also a more hardcore type crowd that's generally posting about golf games on the web weeks and months in advance, so they may already be in on Golf Club and all that. So yeah, it's this is an interesting one to follow, because I don't have a strong read on it one way or the other.
Well, say they don't have this, they don't have that, but what they do have are the 2 best young golfers in the world, right? Mm-hmm. Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy. Spieth has, like I said, won 2 straight major championships. An amazing accomplishment. They've got the course, the crazy course up there by you, mm-hmm. that they played the U.S. Open at this year, which will be very interesting to play. Well, the weird thing about all that is that they didn't really promote the game this last week. They didn't do anything big about having, one of their 8 courses, Chambers Bay. Where were they promoting that? They didn't put out a video of Jordan Spieth after he won, which they completely lucked out on, because none of the other guys that were in the running are in their game. So I would have thought they'd capitalize on that victory more.
So I'm not really sure what's going on with their marketing either. It seems like they missed the boat a couple times just in the last week even. But you're right. They do have some appealing things there. I mean, there's no doubt about that too.
Yeah, very interesting situation. I'm excited. I've been telling you for a while I'm excited, even if the game isn't that great. I mean, the other thing, right? It's in that July time frame. That's the old NCAA football window. People like me who have been playing sports games for a long time see a brand new sports game pop open in July. It's hard to resist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's important that it gets out there before all the others. I mean, I was just saying that a lot of people are willing to wait. A lot of people are willing to wait, but if those people get swept up in all the other games in September and October, it may be too late for EA also.
Well, we will see the value, my friend. We will see the value.